Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
All right, Alex, man. You are in the PFL regular season chasing after $1 million, man. Last year, you're sitting fighting for Bellator. Did you ever think something like that would be a possibility?
When you're in the fight game, I mean, like we're all looking for the next thing and who to fight for, but it's come across, and it's an opportunity that I don't really want to miss out on. And again, there was a time when I was like, oh, I'm signed with Bellator. This is what we're doing. Bellator has been treating me right. I've been fighting for them, and this is just my home squad. But as we've seen in this community, man, things can turn around like that. So with the merger happening, I'm lucky that I got picked up, and I'm hoping to really show some fans and some folks that I'm in it to win it.
Do you feel like certain styles, like, I guess, rise to the top in the season? Because the season is not like, a regular fight schedule for most fighters. It's like you're fighting back to back to back, and then also you're doing camps back to back to back. You have to make a lot of alternations and things like that. Does it kind of remind you of wrestling?
Yeah, actually, it's real similar to the grind of wrestling. Where it's been a while, but for those unfamiliar with the wrestling season, it's every weekend, and you make weight every week. And so you can't like take these big long hikes, and you can't be out of camp, there's no time to get, out of shape. You have a cheat day on Monday, you get real big, you have a good time, and then you're back in the shop doing work. So with PFL, you get something similar. It's hard for me to speak exactly to it because this is, inaugural season for me. I haven't been it yet, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard some of the other guys doing it, it's similar. It's a little more of a grind, and you know, being of the wrestling caliber, I'm looking forward to the grind.
Yeah. You've been through it, and being in Vegas, you probably had a few teammates, and you probably helped a few teammates, right, throughout a couple of the seasons. Have you?
Yeah, I mean, actually, teammate Sadi Busi is moving up to light heavyweight, which is where I'm at. But last year, he was doing work at welterweight. We're all there giving him the push and helping him move along, trying to get him to where he needed to be. But yeah, I mean, and again, speaking on Vegas and just being here in Extreme Couture, we got guys everywhere. We got guys doing the UFC thing. We got guys Bellator. We got guys across the country doing all sorts of stuff. So everybody's always got something going on. And although nobody's next to you when you're competing, it's it's an individual sport in that way. But at the same time, like we're there for the wins. We're there for the losses because we've been bleeding, we've been sweating, we've been working with these guys, and hopefully they can do the same for us.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you jump right into a big fight right away. You get the returning
Yeah,
champ, right? Hey, why not? Why not do that? Do it like that, right?
if you're gonna get into the pool for the first time, you got to make a big splash. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Cannonball, cannonball.
That's right.
You cannonball. What do you think of Impa, man? You know, he, he's a guy that was at 185 that went up to light heavyweight
hmm
and did his thing. And what do you think of the skill set, and what do you think of him as overall?
You know, at, and now this may be speaking to me. But as part of my kind of fight programming, I'm trying to focus on me. I'm looking to see what I do. And like I said, there are plenty of guys in my corner, in my team, that have fought Impa, that know what he does, that have thoughts and opinions on him. And at the end of the day, I appreciate all that input. I take all that to heart, but I need to know what I need to work on in order to make my best fight. And if I'm gonna sit here and think about, oh, what's Impa up to, and oh, what's Impa gonna bring to the table, sometimes that can just be a little bit overwhelming for what I'm looking at. But I can say this: there's a reason why the dude is the returning champ. He's got skills, and we're gonna look to do what I normally do in the fight, which is get in there, get dirty, get close, and turn this what could be a beautiful stylistic fight into something that's a little more gory, a little more chaotic. I feel like that's where I fight best, is when we're getting dirty, when we're starting to wrestle, we're starting to grind.
The last couple of years, you only fought twice, right? There's been big gaps. We actually did an interview ahead of the Carl Moore fight that was eventually canceled and then rescheduled a couple months later, right? It's just a lot of up and downs, right?
Yeah, but I mean, and again, that's something that fans of the fight game. I mean, sometimes it may be hard to see from the outside, but if you know what's happening, you know that that's going to happen. It's things moving around, things changing, and somebody could be feeling good for a fight, and it could be a great matchup. Both guys are looking forward to it, and oop, what's that? 4 weeks into training camp, and you break your foot, like stepping down from your truck or whatever you're doing. So it's going to happen. Unfortunately, I've been, like you said, I've kind of been at the low parts, but now hopefully with this PFL thing, I mean, karma swings both ways. So hopefully I can, with this new program and being under the PFL banner, we can get some fights underneath it, stay busy.
Do you feel like it's a fresh start for you because you are fighting for a new promotion and you're entering a totally different format?
Um, the different format is a thing that people have spoken on, and yeah, it's going to be a little different. However, I feel like I'm pretty well suited for it. Again, we talked about the familiarity and the closest to the wrestling season, but also um, I'm I've always been a guy who's the week after the fight, unless something terrible happens, I'm right back at it. I'm back at it the next week, getting back into it. I don't need to do. I'm not the guy to take these big long slogs out and then I'm back in and then no with the fight. So at least with the new format, it's something that's going to be a learning curve. But I feel like I've kind of already been up to it, and hopefully it won't throw me for too much of a loop.
After the last fight against Carl Moore, how were you physically and mentally?
You know, physically, I mean, nobody's ever going to be perfect after a fight, but I mean, we didn't get big knocked out. We didn't, and nothing broke. Um, it was like I said, as long as nothing goes bad traumatically, I think I was back in the gym that next week, um, breaking down film, seeing what went wrong, seeing what we can improve upon. And I mean, it would be silly to say like, oh, it's chalk it back to 0-0, because you're always going to feel bad on a loss. It's never a good feeling. That's why we're always trying to beat each other up so that we can get that win. But it's that sense of moving forward, and I'm trying to grow as a fighter in that. We can look back on those fights and say, hey, yeah, we're bummed with the outcome. Here are the things we did well. These are the things that we can build upon. These are the things that, maybe not so well. And I think after that last fight, we did a good job of that. And I was kind of hoping that maybe Bellator would pick me up for something sooner. But, we've been in the gym, and I've been working on the stuff that I've seen in the Carl Moore fight and previous fights. And hopefully with this substantial amount of time off, I can come and show you guys what I've been working on.
Yeah, and you're not gonna have to worry about it. Long as you win, you're gonna get the next fight. You already know what the next fight will most likely be after the fight immediately. It's kind of a trip.
Yeah. Yeah. I tip my hat to, I mean, again, they don't need my approval. PFL has already been doing their thing and making their mark. Um, you know, kind of making their own niche in the MMA world. But it's I appreciate trying to branch out and do something new and not just be another fight program that just shows on a different channel on the TV. They're taking those risks. They're trying something new, and they're trying something new to try to bring the fans in and try to bring a little bit more fun, a little bit more edginess, set themselves apart. But it would be you're a little irresponsible to say that at the end of the day, like, we're in the fight game. We're dudes fighting in a cage. That's what the sport's about. That's what people are coming to see. They want to come and see, two guys walk into a cage and a little bit of violence. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, yeah, man. I know you're eager, man. You've been out for a while, so it's always, especially for fighters. If anybody's been around fighters when they're not in camp and they want to fight, it's a different animal right there, right? They're just so eager to just compete. The camp, your camp. I know you're always training, and there's always people in camp, so most likely you're helping them for their camps. And then when it's your turn, who's helping you get ready for Impa?
We got the whole crew at Extreme helping, but just some of the bigger guys that have really specifically been helping me. We got Chris Curtis, who's fighting this weekend. We got Sean Strickland, who's waiting on his fight whenever that's going to be. But we're all helping each other out, and of course there's always guys coming in and out. Sorry, now I'm starting to get flabbergasted because I'm trying to give shout outs to all my guys. There's just so many. There's the talent level at Extreme is just so high that it's hard to shout them all out. But we're all here. We're all Team Extreme under Coach of the Year Nick Sick, and it's just like I couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, yeah, it's a phenomenal team. Eric's a great guy and a great coach. Um, Sean Strickland, you're around him a lot, and that video of him beating up that streamer, like, I feel like a lot of fighters, like, they want to do that, but they probably wouldn't. But Sean's like, what's the big deal? Like, what is your reaction to that? Like, it's funny to me.
It's kind of what you said. A lot of fighters want to. Not all are going to do it, but that's the thing. Sean's going to do Sean, and that's always been his thing. Whether you react well to it or not, that's where he is. He stands by what he says, and he stands by what he does. And you can follow all of his. I'm sure anyone in the MMA community that is hearing this is already following Sean, checking up on him, seeing what he's up to. But yeah, I mean, he's just a solid dude. And look, as far as opinions on beating up streamers, as long as consensual, I say go for it. He put on gloves, he stepped to Sean. That's all right with me.
Yeah, yeah. That was the wrong thing to do. Like, normal people that know about fighting, they probably wouldn't. Okay, so like during sparring, right, against Sean, when he's talking to you, and just continue to talk to you during sparring, does that help you,
Yeah.
mentally training yourself for certain, I guess, opponents? I don't know, maybe for a future opponent or something.
I think sometimes online you'll get the Sean that's yelling, calling the people he's sparring with various genitalia and whatever. Um, eh, that's not as helpful. But I mean, at the same time, that's Sean's way of motivating you, try to get a rise out of you because maybe he feels like the energy level is a little low. He's trying to pick you up. And as far as talking outside of just general insults or "come on, let's go," yeah, that helps. If you watch any other sport where there's coaches and teammates going on, and you can hear them, like, yeah, you want to say stuff, you want to be moving, and that's the thing. I don't think. Granted, it's contextual, depending on who Sean's beating the ass of at the time. But I think when we're sparring as a team, he wants to help bring his team up because, as I said before, it's a team sport. If he helps me become a better fighter, then I'm a better fighter to help make him a better fighter. So yeah, I mean, it can be a little bit much for some people, but maybe that's just getting used to Sean's Shawning. And maybe that's just I again I bring it back to my history of wrestling because we were getting yelled at all the time when we were wrestling. I mean, anyone who's familiar with sports should be like, yeah, of course they're going to yell at you. That's going to happen all the time.
For sure. And bringing it back to you and in your PFL debut, man, it's a big one. What are your expectations out of yourself? What do you want to show?
You know, I'm just coming to show that I mean business. That the PFL made the right choice bringing the guy from Bellator over. I know with Impa, last year's champ, it's a big test, but I'm hoping that I can put on a good fight, have some fun, and again, like you said, it's been a little while since I've been in the cage, so I hope the smart cage is going to be ready to catch all the stuff I've been working on.
I hope it's smart enough. That's what I hope.